pardon my French, just the only word I can come up with is a crapshoot. Okay.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we expect that they're like preference three communities, and you'll be put, you know, I mean, if you're like, oh, Castilla Leon, which is, you know, how large that is, it's just, you're going to be somewhere that, for example, so I was just wondering, okay, yeah, no, that answers it.
Yeah, and what was I going to say? I think the sueldo was, when I was there, €1,000, which in Madrid covered things like pretty okay. But I did end up teaching those extra classes, which helped some more and gave me some more flexibility to travel around. So, and English is, there's a really big push, or at least the past few years ago when I was there, they were still in a really big push. Everybody really wanted their kids to learn English. I'm not sure now about the, like, with the recortes and everything that are going on, but I'll keep my fingers crossed for you guys that you can make a lot extra. Okay.
Do you have to look for your own apartment, or do they set you up?
That's a good question.
Housing?
Because I had already been there for a year, I sort of took care of things on my own, which was good because the program was like, I guess we're supposed to help you. In a more established school, there's a point person for the bilingual program that is supposed to help, their job is to help you adjust culturally, and part of that is making sure that you get an apartment.
I've had friends in places in Burgos, Ciudad Real, and outside of Cadiz in a smaller town. So friends have been all over the place doing it. And they all, ups and downs, different from studying abroad, obviously, because you're not with your group of friends necessarily. But they found their own niche and really had a good time. And it's a great experience, getting that time in the classroom and working with the kids. And he's student teaching now in Reading and has that background. Burgos.
Getting to spend another year, right?
I see.
That's a nice,
Definitely.
it's a nice opportunity.
Enjoy.
Lauren has a question.
Me? I did kind of have one.
See,
Sorry.
I did.
I'm just curious. I'm going to Leon next year. And so I have a question kind of generally about study abroad and employers. Like, I've heard that study abroad has kind of become almost so common that it's not like a, wow, like you studied abroad. Like, you're not like that one, like, shining star anymore. I was wondering if you could...
Well, I think the Holy Cross year abroad versus a semester makes a huge difference. Being like you really get to know a place, you like adjust to a whole nother culture, a whole nother city. Your language is going to be so much better to being able to go for that
being
whole
away
year.
for a year.
Yeah, I wouldn't, and I mean, yes, a lot of people do study abroad. It's all on what you take from it and how you grow from it. And I mean, I talk about all the time, like go see the world, go travel. I mean, I spent all of my money, like saw as much of Europe and as much of Spain, like we all did, like broke, but it's totally worth it. And you come back your senior year and everything's fine, and you spend a little bit and it's great. But I think it whatever you do, like especially with your language proficiency and your just like worldview changes so much that it's very beneficial.
I hear it comes up in interviews, like
No,
every job
it's
interview.
such a good thing. I've been helping out our recruitment program interviewing kids, and even when I see kids 6 months, I'm like, come on, everyone can do that. We did have one kid, I forget what school he was, like he was a whole year, and I was like, all right, we're going to keep this guy around. But it had the biggest impact on my life. I will say it was the hardest year in my life. Really challenging if anyone else has been abroad, and Leon was pretty intense too at times, but I don't know who I'd be without that year. I think I'd be the biggest wimp. And I gained so much self-confidence, and it's going to transform to everything you do, any interview. And believe me, it will stand out in jobs for sure. So you'll look forward to it. Let us know how they all are.
Yes.
Thanks for putting me on
Maybe
the spot.
we'll show up in Leon next year.
Anytime.
There we go.
Sort of a follow-up question with that. I mean, have you found that having experience abroad in more than one Spanish-speaking country has been a real plus?
I think it has, especially just because where I was in those two places were also like, so in Peru I was in Lima, which is the capital city, Madrid, capital city, so it's a mix of everybody from that country, plus international, like it's the center point. You just meet so many people. I mean, in Spain, I think my first year I met more Mexicans than I did Spanish people. I lived with Mexicans. So yeah, I think, but you also get like the feel of that certain place and that certain not dialect, but that the way that region speaks as well.
I think it's, and especially being a teacher, being able to talk about a variety of countries. And I just went to Ecuador in the spring. My sister studied there. I went to see a friend in Costa Rica, and then went to Puerto Rico, and I do know a lot about Spain. The kids are like, we always talk about Spain, which we do in certain classes, and other classes focus on other countries. But just being able to have first-hand experience traveling to other countries, saying, oh, well, this is what they call this, and this is a weird difference in language, and just pointing out those things, because you're like, oh, that's cool, like I never thought about that, and bringing music into it, that's a huge thing if you get into music, and I mean, from Colombia to Argentina to the tango and to flamenco and reggae to everything, like you can pull and bring in as much from the other countries as you can, really show them about the world, and that's as much as traveling as you can do. I recommend.
Other questions?
Enjoy every minute of your sophomore, junior, senior years here. It flies by, and then you're all grown up.
But yeah, definitely use your Spanish, because Meg and I, when we were in Leon, we had such a big program. There was 14 or 15 of us, and
yeah.
so many of our friends have lost their Spanish. And
They don't even.
it is heartbreaking to see that, because you stack base a whole year, and you don't want to lose it.
I mean, they don't practice at all. I mean, some try here and there, and I mean, my friend's she's a lawyer now, and she had to translate something, and she did her best with it, and then she sent it to me to just double check. I'm like, can I get the lawyer's billing rate on that? You know, like she's using it in law too. Everywhere you get to use your Espanol, so just really you have to keep up with it, and I'm sure there's some form of conversational Spanish groups. I know there was something in Boston that you can meet up and speak Spanish, but like I said, anywhere I go, I found you can find people and start speaking Spanish.
And it's great to go. I didn't go abroad, but I did go visit these guys in Leon, and I was there for like, almost a week, and it was incredible. I felt like I left there and my Spanish had gotten like significantly better. It's
Just
great
a
to go to a
week.
Spanish-speaking country and really just spend some time there, and if you don't have the opportunity to go abroad.
And I just really can't emphasize enough the Crusader connections. When I started, I was telling these guys earlier, my company originally, we were the startup Open Air, and I think there were 40 or 50 employees, and 14, 16 of us were Holy Cross grads, so we were the Crusader cult. But anywhere, especially in the New England area, the Holy Cross, it's so well respected, and just network with everyone. It can't hurt. It's really just a great tool. And just keep asking about Spanish. I know I was really annoying, but
How early in your senior year do you start to look at all of these things and start to
I
contact
started
the career?
spring, but you can do it as early as you want. I know a lot of jobs have been on campus, so just keep a lookout.
Throughout the fall, especially if you're going to apply for like grants and things to travel and work, teach abroad. But teaching, especially public schools, those don't really come out until May, June, if you're lucky. Worcester is tougher, like some of the bigger cities, they don't really know till August what's happening, so you have to be patient with that. And especially if you want to teach in a bigger city, really make a connection, because I applied to probably 8-10 jobs in Boston, and I heard back from one elementary one. I think it's really hard to get in there unless you do a program that has you student teaching in Boston. There were tons of things available in the vicinity, different charter schools, different public schools. You just have to network and figure out what's the right fit for you. Is private better, Catholic, teacher corps, things like that. There's lots and lots of options to learn how to teach and like develop slowly into teacher, or you could jump right in and see how it goes and then do school after. It's up to you and what you're ready for. But that's more in the spring.
Do you guys think it hurts to not have had an internship? Because I went abroad too, and I didn't get back till like July, basically, from Palma. So no internship started then, and I haven't had one, so I've been like a little hesitant to apply to jobs.
To make you feel better, on my resume it was just waitressing and nannying.
Okay, that's literally.
But that's why I feel like just using the skills from abroad, I just really honed it and said how I had to be so independent because I did all this on my own by myself. You just have to use the other skills and just craft it. And they're totally going to understand. The same thing with the GPA, that being frozen, that caused some